Okay, welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler here at Red State Talk Radio. We have had a full day today, folks. We've been working on a tape for Donald Trump, if you can believe that. It's called it's about 50 people, and we're doing like a convention. It's being done by Jerry McLaughlin, who runs Special Guests, and it's going to be really interesting. In fact, I'm going to ask Jerry to reach out to our next guest, Mr. Frank Venucio, and ask him to say a few words, because Frank has great insight, great analysis on issues that affect us in government and in life. Frank is, many of you already know, a very good friend of mine, and love him to death. And anyway, Frank is the president of the American Analysis of News and Media, and he's the editor-in-chief of its major publication, the New York Analysis for Government and Policy. And welcome to the show, Frank. How are you? Okay. Hey, welcome to the show, Frank. How are you? Okay. Frank, are you there? Okay, let's see here. We'll bring him up. We got to bring him up. Let's see. Frank, are you there? Uh-oh. I think our mics just went out, because I'm not seeing any sound going out here. Fix that real quick. Yep, here we go. Frank? Okay. What we have to do is, I think we're broadcasting. I just don't think I don't know if we're sending out signal across the air here. But we'll bring Frank on in a minute. We'll fix this. Most skosh. Not going to take as long. Red State. Okay. Here we go. Let's see here. We can pull. It's always something, man, I tell you. It takes me off that we can't get this thing always right. It's amazing. Right now we're checking the, yeah, I can hear us out there on the system, so that's okay, good. But I'm not recording. Frank, can you hear me? Frank, anyway, we'll pull it up. Here we go. Okay. Frank, can you hear me? Okay, Frank, can you hear me? Hey, Frank. I just heard him. Frank? Yeah. I can't believe this. Frank, did you hear me? We go back to, let's see here. Yep. Let's see here. I just heard him. Frank, did you hear me? Let's do this one more time. Let's go out here and do this. Okay. Close troubleshooter. Okay, we're testing it again. We're detecting. I heard him for a sec, and then I lost him. Don't know why this system drops folks like that, but it does. Anyway, we're going to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg today. It's something that Frank and I talked about last week, and then she passed away this week. And there's an excellent article, if you haven't read, in the New York Times talking about why she didn't step down when Barack Obama could have clearly pressed her and passed her successor. Frank, are you there? Okay. What I'm going to do is drop you, bring you back. Maybe that'll get you back in the loop here. But I don't know what's going on with this system of ours, but I know we're broadcasting. I do know that. It's amazing that we're not going out across the system so that I can talk to people like my friend, good Frank Venucio. We just closed that facility down, that app down. And I have an app that I have to bring in to bring these folks into the system. So it's always something. Okay. And I'm going to play this one more time. Close that out. Oops, sorry. There we go. Okay. Frank, are you there? Frank, are you there? Hello? I can't believe it. Man, this is frustrating. But anyway, Hillary Clinton had asked Ginsburg to step down also. She refused because she was gambling that Hillary Clinton was going to be the first woman president. And she was going to have Hillary appoint her. So it didn't happen that way. It didn't work out quite that way. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg had some interesting things to call our president, which, I didn't appreciate. But then again, I wasn't a Ruth Bader Ginsburg fan. Never was, never would be. I thought she was an amoral person. Let me be clear, amoral person. Because she clearly knew right from wrong, but she always chose, in my opinion, wrong with her issue on transgenders and gays and equality. I thought it was ludicrous. But again, people like that. People like her. Frank, are you there? I can't tell. It's frustrating. But I just don't know how to bring Frank up. I cannot see anything that's wrong on my end. Let's see here. Anyway, Frank, are you there? Frank Venucio. Frank Venucio. I hear you, Frank, but you keep going out. Let me talk to him offline here. But look, while you're doing that, we're going to play a couple of clips that we have for you today. And hey, Frank, you hear me? Let's see, he keeps coming. Hey, Frank, you hear me? Okay, let's see here. Frank. Frank, you're on the air. You're on the air, dude. Hey, Frank. Hey, Frank. You're on the air, dude. Mm-hmm. You keep coming in and going out. What's happening? And then you go out. Yeah, you're doing the same thing. So you're doing the same thing. I can hear you rustling papers and waiting on me to come on, but I don't know what's going on with this with the system. Let's try this right. Let's try it right now. See what happens. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, he's going to call right back. And we'll see what happens here. But this should be an interesting conversation because we were just talking about this last week. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies on Friday. Amazing. She's gone. I can't say that I'm going to shed any tears. Yeah, Frank, what's going on? Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it. Okay, let's try it now. Okay, phone line should be open. I guess the software is just messing up. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh man! But I tell you, the reality is, we have some interesting takes. People are talking about her last dying wishes. Where's that we? Hey Frank, I can hear you. Oh, you here? You're not calling in? Yeah, you can call in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, something's really wrong with this system today. It's lagging. Okay, Frank Fernuzio. Ta-da! There we go. Frank, how you doing? You can hear me. You can hear me. I hear you in my headset. Good. Good. Yeah. Well, I think I'm hearing you across the system, so we're good. Yeah, let's just kill the landline. Hey, listen, sorry about that, but so for some reason the software is just lagging today. I hate this. Yeah, I'm here. I just hate this internet piece. You there? Frank, are you there? I guess not. What I'm going to do is we'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. I know how to skin this cat. Hey, hey, Frank.
I'm here, Charles.
Yeah, we're going to do it this way. So
Okay, fine.
quality will be a little different, but that's okay. We can handle it.
No problem.
Hey, look, you and I were talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the fact that she had, I think, made a blunder in not taking Barack Obama's offer to retire so he could replace her with a liberal justice. She was trying to grind it out, dude. She was trying to hang in there.
She was, and of course, she actually put her own career above what she believed her belief system was. She should have taken Barack Obama's offer if, in fact, she was that worried about who was going to replace her. Look, there's no doubt that she had an interesting role in American jurisprudence, but there were also some weird steps as well in terms of her overemphasis, I believe, on gender issues and so forth. She would be eulogized by the left continuously, and we have to take a stronger look perhaps at her actual record rather than at the myth of who she is. To some extent, the myth building that has been going on has been there to pressure whoever was president, in this case Donald Trump, to appoint someone similar to her. But of course, the activist judges have not been particularly, I think, good in terms of carrying out the wishes of the Constitution, and they've been overtly political, which is something you certainly do not want the United States Supreme Court to become.
Well,
now, we're hearing that Charles Schumer, the minority leader of the United States Senate, is threatening to pack the court if a Democrat wins in the November election, which, of course, would be a blatant disregard of tradition and certainly an attempt to use the Supreme Court for political purposes, not for the purposes for which it was intended.
But Frank, think about this for a second. How can they pack the court? They can't pack the court. The nominations come from the president. And right now, the Republicans control the Senate. So what is he talking about?
Charles Schumer believes that, of course, that Joe Biden will win the presidency and that the Democrats will win a majority in the United States Senate. One can assume that if the election was going to go to Biden, then there would be a good possibility that the Senate could go Democrat as well. So to some extent, Schumer's threat should be taken fairly seriously. But again, the fact of the matter is, it makes it all the more imperative that a decent justice, one who will uphold the Constitution, be appointed, and then let the battle begin if Biden wins and wants to pack the court. Franklin Delano Roosevelt tried to do the same thing in the 1930s. He received, I believe, a letter from Adolf Hitler praising him for the action. The one tyrant, I guess, believing that this was another tyrannical act, which Hitler admired. But I think the American public would consider that a bridge too far. And I don't think that any future president would get away with trying to do what even Franklin Delano Roosevelt was unable to do in the 1930s.
Well, Roosevelt, I think, when you look at Goebbels and some of the Nazis, and they said, well, where did you come up with these ideas for oppressing and suppressing the Germans? They said, well, we copied the way that you treated blacks in America. Seriously.
Pretty tragic statement, isn't it?
And then they said, well, where did you come up with the notion of propaganda? They said, well, we copied Woodrow Wilson and what his administration did during World War II or World War One. And
Woodrow Wilson, by the way, is a fascinating figure. Many on the left for years considered him an icon, but when you look at it, the guy was an out-and-out racist. And certainly, isn't it amazing, Charles, how so many of the icons of the left turn out to be absolute racists?
Oh, yeah.
The Democratic Party itself, of course, is the party that wanted to preserve slavery. After the Civil War was won by those seeking freedom, the Democratic Party supported things like the Ku Klux Klan and preventing blacks in the South from owning weapons, the first gun control measures. And of course, that other icon of the left, Margaret Sanger, founder of the abortion movement, believed in abortion because she thought too many black babies were being born.
Well, I have another one for you, Frank, that everyone tends to overlook, and that's Lyndon Baines Johnson. Lyndon Baines Johnson did not do black people any favors. He was when you look at his Great Deal or Great Society programs, they were designed on purpose to destroy the black family, which is why you have such upheaval in the black community today, because we don't have families have been destroyed. The concept of families have been destroyed. White people are just getting to the point where black people were back in the 60s. And that is, you don't need a man in the home. You don't need a man for anything. I can do it on my own. And any man is toxic. And anything that a man has to say, I don't want to hear. There was an article in the New York, was it New York Times or Wall Street Journal? Oh, it was New York Times. And this is what this woman said. Why do men think mansplaining? Why do men always think they have to tell women what to do or explain things to women? It's because you don't know Jack.
Daniel Patrick Moynihan, back in the 70s, actually wrote about the problems affecting the black family and how the Great Society program made it so much worse. And isn't it fascinating, by the way, that one of the key tenets of Black Lives Matter is the elimination of the nuclear family?
Yeah, Frank, I'm listening to you over my iPad. I don't know how in the heck you coming through my iPad. My stuff is all jacked up here, man.
I tell you.
I have no idea why you're coming through the iPad. Anyway, I thought you were coming through the telephone, but you're coming through the iPad.
Very strange.
Very strange. But anyway.
I wonder, speaking of odd ways of coming through, if Joe Biden and the Democrats win the 2020 election, isn't it possible that they'll go back to what the Obama administration attempted to do, which is use organizations like the Federal Communications Commission to try to censor out those who simply disagree with them?
Well, they probably will, and they probably would. I mean, free speech was under attack under Barack Obama. As I said to people time and time again, I've never, ever believed in political correctness. Never, ever. And, today we have people who talk about political correctness as if it's a constitutional thing, as if it's accepted in America. I was in a meeting a couple of years ago at a university, and this guy talked about being politically correct. Well, we want to be and I'm thinking, dude, this is a 4-hour meeting. This is half a day. This is a volunteer organization. I need to be out making money, not sitting here 4 hours while people drone on about nothing, and you're trying to be politically correct and not hurt their damn feelings. Amazing.
Yeah, and then of course, political correctness has been used as an excuse to censor out anything that you disagree with. You see this on college campuses in particular, where they've gotten away with it. And that precedent set on college campuses over the past couple of decades has led to this cancel culture that we're seeing in America today.
Yeah, the cancel culture is one thing, but what has tickled me immensely has been these people talking about what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said on her deathbed. Now, how come her family hasn't come out and said this is true or not true? You got Schumer standing up there. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said on her deathbed that she did not want someone to. I mean, really? Who cares? She's dead, dude. She's gone. But I thought it was interesting that we had talked about this woman's demise and how she, kind of messed up in not allowing Barack Obama to appoint someone to the Supreme Court.
Of course, in retrospect, I'm rather glad that she did. I don't think I'd be particularly thrilled about any appointment that Barack Obama made to the court.
Well, I tell you, the two that he did make, in Kagan and Sotomayor, I think they're horrible. And I think that we have too many women on the court as it is. I'd like to see, I would have liked to have seen a black woman on the court, but there are very few conservative black women jurists out there. And you hate to talk about conservative versus liberal when we're talking about jurists, but it exists. So for Roberts to come out and say something like, there are no blue judges, there are no red judges, there are no Democrat judges, there are no Republican. Who does he think we're stupid? I mean, how does he think he got appointed Chief Justice if he wasn't supposed to be a conservative? In fact, we often talked about his whole life being set up like Stedford. He was a Stedford guy, and he had a Stedford wife and Stedford children. His children are adopted. His wife was founded for him. Really? Dude, okay.
Yeah, look, this is going to be a pretty tough battle in the Senate, but it looks like now that Romney has said he would go along with the move, that the administration will be able to push its nominee through.
Well,
so I don't think that that's going to be a real problem.
Well, it blows up Murkowski and Collins. It blows them out of the water.
It does. Now, Collins, it's interesting. Collins is facing a difficult re-election challenge.
She always does.
But you wonder the effect that the ex-Boston voters have. A lot of people moved out of Boston to New Hampshire and to Maine, and they've changed the politics of both of those states. Now, Collins is facing the worst of both worlds. On the one hand, she is certainly not going to appeal to Democrats. On the other hand, the Republicans are getting frankly sick and tired of her routine. So she's sort of in betwixt and between, and I don't know who she really has as a natural ally at this point.
Well, at the end of the day, she's always between a rock and a hard place. And that's okay. That's where she puts herself. She has to toughen up. She has to stand her ground. And I want to know where she stands. I'm glad that Romney came to his senses, because at the end of the day, Frank, you're an attorney. I read the Constitution. I understand the Constitution. It's very clear that the president has an obligation to nominate a justice. Now, the Senate, the balancing act is the Senate does not have to vote on his nomination. That is the balance. That's the checks and balances of all of this, right? So when they talk about Lincoln not being, not appointing a Supreme Court justice during the election year, I think that was because the Senate was Democrat. Was controlled by Democrats. I didn't get a chance to look it up.
fact of the matter is there is going to be a grueling confirmation battle. The two candidates that the president is emphasizing, they look like be one of two women. It'll either be Amy Coney Bryant or Barbara Lagoda from Florida. Either one is going to be a tough battle in terms of being opposed to them. Now, remember, Amy Coney Bryant, when she was being nominated, when she was got last time for a federal judgeship, was attacked by Senator Feinstein from California based on her religious background, which was absolutely stunning. You know, you don't really expect to see that happening in the 21st century.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? When you whoa. Why wouldn't you when you have people? I mean, Frank, why wouldn't you when you have people in government who are amoral? They know that this homosexual stuff is clearly anti-religious. It's clearly in the Bible that homosexuality and the whole LGBT crap is immoral, and they try to force it on us. They've tried to force it, legitimize it in government code that somehow sex and how you choose to have sex is protected. So I'm going to form a group of people who like to have sex with their feet in warm water, and we're going to be a protected class, okay? You know, Frank, I'm getting older, so my feet get cold, you know, so I want to get a head start. I want to run a pan of warm water and, you know, hey, baby, come and sit on my lap, you know?
Well, the whole concept of a protected group, look, let's be blunt. You know, so many different groups try to pretend that their particular pet peeves are the equivalent of the civil rights movement, when in fact, clearly they are not. And you're going to see this continue to grow. There was a group in New York which had as its protected class, its supposed protected class, Latino dwarf transsexuals. Now, you know, if that sounds absurd, it certainly is, but there actually was a small group that existed in New York City with that particular emphasis. So, you know, where does it go from there?
Well, this is where it goes, Frank. You have pedophiles who are there and they're not talking about this in the media, but you have pedophiles who are forming groups and they're actively petitioning and being activists in what's wrong with child love, what's wrong with loving a child. That's how they kind of try to shape it. You know, these.
For example, with the California law recently, one of the things. Now, I'm not a practicing attorney. I do have a law degree. I'm not a practicing attorney, but I know enough about the law to tell you that the flaw in that entire argument is that a child under a certain age is legally incapable of giving consent. So you can pass as many laws as you want saying that sex with a 14-year-old is okay if you're 20 years old or something, but that 14-year-old is not legally capable of giving consent to a sexual act. And there are all sorts of psychological studies and brain studies that clearly indicate that the mind of someone that young and younger certainly is significantly different than that of an adult.
Yeah, but these pedophiles and these corrupt, immoral, and amoral politicians, and I certainly consider RBG amoral, and I've always considered her that way. When she was at ACLU, she did some bizarre stuff. She did very bizarre stuff. I don't have a great deal of respect for her personally, or as a jurist, or as a judge, or as an activist, because I disagree fundamentally with everything that she's done and that she does. She let me just emphasize a couple of things. She made being a mother toxic. That's why we have latchkey kids. Why should a woman can't go to work, and why does she have to come home and cook? So her husband did all the cooking, the little sissy, and then she made being a man, being masculine, toxic. Why do men have bass in their voice, and why do they think that they can walk around and why can't I mean, she shred the lines. When you talk about equality, what she did was to shred the lines between being a man and a woman and try to effeminize men. That her whole attack was against men. She was a misandrist. meaning she hated men, and nobody ever talks about that. I mean, that's the way I see it anyway.
Yeah, look.
I heard that sigh. I heard that sigh. What was that sigh about? I heard that sigh. What was that sigh about?
It's just the frustration at the icons of the left. Anyone on the left turns into an icon that you can't disparage, you can't say anything about. But anybody on the center, on the right, with a far better record, well, they're just they're not worthy of recognition whatsoever. And it just doesn't seem to end. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Well, I would Mitch McConnell. I would hire a private security guard, and I would say anyone within 100 feet of my house, I would go get a restraining order. I say anyone within, because my life has been threatened. Anyone within 100 feet of my house, deal with them, beat the crap out of them. These young kids think that they're above the law. They think that they can do whatever it is they want to do, and that we, the American people, have to put up with it, and we don't.
Look, politics has always been a rough sport, but never before in America have we seen the whole-scale acceptance of violence and the threat of violence like we've seen in the past several years, particularly when you look at a group like Antifa. For 100 days, actually now it's over 100 days, they have terrorized the city of Portland. They are fortunate that they have a mayor who's totally sympathetic with them. They have beaten journalists. They have attacked federal courthouses in various places like Seattle and in Portland with no repercussions whatsoever. These spoiled brats are the product of never being spanked at home, I believe, and it's just getting worse and worse. And if you have a Biden administration where they feel they have some protection at the top, it's going to be even worse. There's some who try to spread the illusion that if you got rid of Trump, that somehow the country would quiet.
Would unite? Wait, well, no,
just the opposite. Just the opposite.
Wait a minute. That the country would unite and we wouldn't be divided. Right. When has America, I say this all the time, when has America not been divided? It's been divided my whole life. I've always seen the divisions, whether they were racial, whether they were economic, the strike in Detroit, automotive strike of 58. I mean, I was 6 years old, but I knew there was a strike, and I knew that times were hard. I could see the stress in my father's face as a young boy. And while they were negotiating contracts to go back to work, and people were trying to figure out how they were going to eat, they didn't have to worry about paying rent because his uncle owned the house we stayed in. But it was something, man. I mean, think about it. I mean, we have never ever. Then you get the Vietnam War. You got the civil rights. You have economic rights, women's rights. There is,
and let me tell you what the difference, though, is. I truly think that even during the Vietnam era, when there were so many protests, the bottom line is that people may have protested a policy. They may have protested a particular administration. But one thing that they did not protest was the continued existence of the United States as a nation. What you're seeing with groups like Antifa in particular is that they are questioning the very basis of what the United States is, the very basis of our Constitution.
Frank,
and I think that's a significant difference.
No, Frank. We had people who were trying to bring down the system, i.e. the weatherman, Barack Obama's guy. What was his name? Bill Ayers. You had the weathermen. You had the party weren't the Black Panther Party wasn't about destroying America. They were just about getting an equal share and getting police from whooping their heads and that kind of thing. But community self protection. But we had anarchist groups now who were acting out during Vietnam. They just really didn't.
True. The difference, Charles, though, is that never before have those fringe groups totally dominated one of the two major political parties. And now the Democratic Party is essentially the party of the extreme left.
Well, Frank, I mean, I understand that you said that. And I'm really surprised that you said that, but you're right. AOC and those kind of people are getting a lot. I cannot believe that AOC really had the nerve to say this on Twitter. Let's see here. I'm gonna play it real quick. I mean, I just could not believe that this woman, this is a sitting congresswoman, a sitting congresswoman. She actually had the nerve to threaten, the system, threaten us. Here she goes. What does that mean? We're not going back to brunch. Help me out with that.
You're going to have to tell me on that one because I have absolutely no idea. Hey, Charles, this conversation has been so interesting. I actually almost ran over my entire next show. Let me talk to you next week. I look forward to it.
Hey, man, you can come on anytime. You don't have to wait till next week. If you have some time later this week, we need to kick it. We need to really kick it about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and this vote that's coming up in the Senate. And thank you again, man, for being with me. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Sorry
Charles,
about the time.
there.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's my guy, Frank Venucio. Look, I want to play Don Lemon. Don Lemon said, we're going to blow up the system. We need to blow it up. I mean, and for those of you who don't know, Don Lemon is this black homosexual who has a show on, what's the name of the place? CNN. I tell you, it's like, let's listen to this and then I'll comment. Let's listen to it. That's the first time I heard Chris Como say something legitimately sane. He said, hey, wait a minute, Don. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, that's a little radical. We're Don Lemon. We're going to have to blow up this. What? I love this system. I love the people. And whether I agree with them or not, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I appreciate her having the opportunity to do what it was she did and to exercise her right to do what she's done over the years. That's how I feel about it. Have I ever been a Ruth Bader Ginsburg fan? Absolutely not. But look, I got some comments out here today. What did Andrew say? Andrew said you can't hear the clips. Sorry, Andrew. I'm going to go fix those clips. I'll take care of that. It says sex with socks on. Yeah, that was a little funny. No chance of electrical. No chance of electrical hazard. Yeah, that's true. That's too funny. Too funny. Hey, but look. Yeah, those clips that you can't hear, what I didn't do was to fix the copyright claims. Because sometimes when I play songs, I play them a little long. You get 30 seconds free. And then if I play them a little longer, they'll attach what they call a copyright claim, and nothing really happens. You just have to, respond to the email that you get. And sometimes I don't. Sorry. Anyway, Don Lemon, let's just blow this mother up. Blow it up and start all over. Sorry, Don, not going to happen. But one thing that these people know as we stack this court is that we will get back to some semblance of decency. We should file motions. We should file court cases to bring God back into the public sphere, to bring the Pledge of Allegiance and God back into schools. It should be mandatory that children say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, how come you cannot not know that? How are politicians flubbing this? How are politicians flubbing this simple thing. I've said it thousands of times going to school. I say, how many school days are there? 200 school days? And I probably said it from kindergarten all the way through, I think about ninth grade. We said the pledge, 8th or ninth grade, we said pledge of allegiance every day. Pledge allegiance to the flag. And so that's 9 times 20 to 200, because I never missed school, hardly ever missed school. You know, things like the mumps, the measles would slow you down for a little bit, a week or two, and you're back in there. Okay? So, as we go along with the rest of the show, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I said this a long time ago, we said this last week, should have stepped down. She should have stepped down when Barack Obama had the opportunity to replace her with a liberal. But she said, hey, no one could be more liberal than me. She put herself before the party, before her beliefs. She did, and she paid for it. But President Trump has the absolute authority to replace the Supreme Court justice. I mean, it's in the Constitution. So if he didn't replace the Supreme Court justice, then he would be derelict in his duty, in his constitutional responsibilities. But it doesn't seem like these people really care. Well, he should just wait. Wait for what? He didn't have to wait. I mean, it's up to the Congress or the Senate to vote or not to vote on the nominee. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the guy that they put up, Merrick Garland, and they talk about how, you know, he's just such a wonderful guy, and he would have been perfect for whom? He would have been perfect for me. I didn't like Merrick Garland. I thought that he was a very liberal guy. I didn't, like many of his rulings or the way that he leaned. He wasn't a centralist jurist. I'm just glad that he didn't get appointed and didn't get nominated. Well, he got nominated, but he didn't get appointed. It's amazing. So how we get away with appointing the most Supreme Court justices? Nobody's talking about that. I know that Barack appointed 2 in Kagan and Sotomayor, and I think we know that Bush has appointed 2 already. He's going to appoint 3, which would be, I think, historic. And people just don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth, but that it is the truth, and it's going to always be the truth. And guess what? Nobody can do anything about it. As much as they want to, as much as they can cry, as much as in her dying bed, she said that she didn't want this president to appoint her. Yeah, she was tough on the president. In fact, she had to apologize. So she took it upon herself to apologize to Trump about some things she said. And I guess she figured, that if she died, that he'd probably get in office. He'd shortcut her funeral. RBG, she apologized to President Trump for some of the things that she said. And she should have, really, because it was totally uncalled for. Because at the end of the day, Trump's not a racist. Trump is not xenophobic, certainly not homophobic. And these people know that. And people know that, people who know him. Justice Ginsburg was very clear. She says she decided to apologize to the president because it was warranted. She's right, it was warranted. And I have to give her credit for that. So she had given an interview in the New York Times, and it caused a real stir, expressing her opinion on the presidential candidate. And it's a line that most jurists don't cross. And she made some comments about the presumptive nominee at that time, Donald Trump, and she wasn't very cautious at all. And she since made comments about the president that she apologized for after he was elected to office. So, when we start talking about these remarks and how people cross the line, hey, they don't want. She called Trump a faker, and saying that she feared for the country in the Supreme Court if he were elected. Guess what, RBG? He was elected. He was your commander in chief. He was your president, and he did appoint 2 white men to the court who are great candidates. I might say, just great candidates, great guys. And I'm just a little taken aback with Gorsuch on one of his last decisions. But hey, he voted the way he thought he should. I'm not going to throw the guy under the bus for that. But the Supreme Court, the Judicial Ethics Code bonds lower judges, but not the Supreme Court judges. It prevents justices, I should say, but it forbids judges from endorsing or speaking about candidates. That's a no-no. But there's no rule about the Supreme Court justices, but they, people take it that they know better. They're above all that. At the end of the day, they're in the highest court of the land. They have to set the example. They shouldn't have to be told what to do. Ginsburg. Wow, that's something. So what are we missing while we're focusing on Ginsburg? What else is going on in the world? Well, Donald Trump won the Nobel Peace Prize, of course, for negotiating that peace deal in the Middle East. But what is that? What's happening there? What's going on there? We don't even know, because everybody's focused on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I'm going, okay, that's one thing. But what else is going on in the world? What are they pushing past us that we don't see while we're focused on Ruth Bader Ginsburg? She's dead. Let's forget about it. Move on. So, and this is my last comment on this, because you only have like 5 minutes, but they said this is in Washington Post, a new Supreme Court justice could boost religious rights at the cost of LGBTQ protections. Yes! Yes! Because how I have sex should not be a protected class. Sorry. And if I want to be a woman and I was born a man, then I need a psychologist or psychiatrist, and definitely need some meds if I want a sex change. Sorry. So, and we're not even going to get into all that, because when we do, I'm on the winning side on the whole sex change issue. So I'm like 99.9% of people who have them say they wish they hadn't. I didn't say that. I didn't do the science. I'm just telling you what they tell, what's written, okay? The Pentagon said that use taxpayer money meant for masks and swabs to make jet engine parts and body armor. Oops. See, that's what happens. Follow the money. Follow the money. Now, Powell and Munchin credit stimulus with boosting recovery, but they call for more aid to go. For more aid, but calls for more aid goes unanswered from the Congress. So we need more. We need more aid for folks out there who are hurting, who aren't working, haven't worked in 4 or 5 months. We have restaurants here in Chicago that have been icons. One of my favorite restaurants is a restaurant called Sardines, and it's dead. It's gone. Okay, look, when we come back tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my friend, one of my judge friends who's running for judge, a gentleman named Lewis Nixon, who is a Nixon and who happens to be black. Great guy, great gentleman, and great jurist. We're going to talk to him a little bit. We're going to talk about him a little bit. And we're also going to talk about something that people haven't focused on, and that's some flaws with the RGB cult and where they're going with that, what they do with that. October surprise, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think we'll have a new Supreme Court justice before October 15th, which gives us about 2 weeks before the election to let things kind of settle down. Because there are going to be numerous challenges to the conclusion of the debate of the election, unless, of course, Joe Biden wins. And I can't see that. And I think that I don't think that many other people can either. Hey, but look, what we're going to do is take a moment and get back in the mood. Get ready to get out of here. Get ready to do what we do here at Red State Talk Radio. Sorry about the technical issues earlier today, but we kind of got around them. And, that's all that really counts is getting around them. We're going to blow it up here, and I love having you guys around. Hope that you come back tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of guests come in tomorrow. And we're going to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We're going to talk about the climate change movie. So come back.